All right, this is it, 100.3, the third episode. Oh yeah, again, the burps are back for episode 100 of Three Things with JR, and all three episodes just dropped this week. If you're listening to this one, you've probably listened to the first two, and the way we're celebrating 100 episodes is for me to talk to all three of my lead singers. Bobby Sims was in episode 1, lead singer of Ice House Road, talking about music and life and bipolar disorder and all of that. Episode 2 was Tony LaRocco from Pale Blue Dot. I was a founding member of Pale Blue Dot, the first of 16 total members of that band. And that band is still growing strong and making new music, and Tony's got opinions on music, so that was a lot of fun talking to him. Today, I'll be talking with Gary Hawthorne, the lead singer of ToBe Fare, which is the band I'm in currently. And as you will hear, we haven't been doing much. We recorded a couple songs a couple months ago, and we are in the process of finishing up the mixing and mastering and all of that on those songs, and I'm very much looking forward to them getting released, getting out there so that you can hear them, because they're pretty great songs. I love them. Love Will Find a Way and Transparent. And Gary and I talk about how these songs came to be, as well as a bunch of other stuff. I learned today while talking to Gary that he went to college for Thespianism. He was in plays and musicals and stuff. I had no idea. This guy is quite a Renaissance man. He's incredibly smart, incredibly talented. I consider him one of my close personal friends, and we have not gotten together to play music in about 2 months, and it kind of sucks, so hopefully that'll happen soon. But we did get a chance to chat today, thanks to the magic of Facebook Messenger. So that's what's coming up here in just a minute. I do want to tell you that thank you guys for listening. Everybody that actually does listen to this show every week. There's not a ton of you out there. Please tell your friends about it. There's 100 episodes. They can go back and listen to the show for, there's a lot of stuff to listen to. So get them going. Get this help me grow this audience a little bit. That would be cool. And also get your tickets to Kinky Boots. We are in the last. We have less than a month left of rehearsals, and this show is coming along quite well. I'm extremely excited about it. There's a pretty good chance I'm going to have 2 free tickets to Kinky Boots available for giveaway to some lucky listener of this show. So be ready for that. Hopefully when that is all solidified in the next couple weeks, I will be able to announce that and give away some Kinky Boots tickets, because the tickets are going fast. They are selling. Hundreds and hundreds of tickets have been sold. There's only 6 performances, and the theater is not huge. So and there's already been, a couple weeks ago, they told me they had already sold 300 tickets. So we're moving right along. This thing is, you're going to want some tickets to Kinky Boots, and it is going to be quite the show. So there you go. That's what we're doing. This is Three Things with JR, episode 100.3. And we're going to talk to Gary Hawthorne right on the other side of this commercial break.
Nothing I can say. Change your mind and stay. So I'll see you later today.
Hey, man.
There you are.
Yeah, I don't have the cool microphone, but I built myself a little baffle so I wouldn't sound like I'm in a cave.
Sweet. I've not done any sound treatment to this room that I record in whatsoever. It is a very large, high-ceilinged bedroom, and I've tried different microphones, and that made a huge difference.
Oh yeah, the more directional, the better. But I'm just going through my iPhone. So, how's it sound?
Oh, you sound loud and clear.
Cool.
You're going to be the best sounding of the 3 people that I have as guests on the show celebrating 100 episodes of Three Things with JR.
Well, that's the fucking idea.
One of them won't sound as good, and that's my fault because I went to Bobby Sims' house and brought a portable recorder with me. This fancy one here that I got from work.
Oh, your new fancy thing, yeah.
Yeah, this
Ooh,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I was going to bring this to band practice last time, and then we didn't have it. So
Right.
I'm eagerly looking forward to recording the band with this thing. But it picks up all the noise, including the in-room air conditioner that
sweet.
is in the room. So, yeah, you're going to hear that on the Bobby Sims episode. And then I was talking to Tony LaRocco, but he was on his phone in his car driving. So, so his connection every now and then it would fizzle out, but it came right back. So his audio won't be the best, but so yours will be superior, far superior to all the other two guests. To save the best sound quality for last.
Sweet.
So the whole idea here is for the 100th episode, I kept racking my brain to try to figure out how to celebrate this and how to do something a little special and out of the ordinary for 100 episodes of the show, and it just sort of hit me. I had this recording of Bobby that I did like 2 months ago, and then Tony LaRocco reached out because Pale Blue Dot is playing Fridays After 5 in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
he
right.
wanted to promote it, on this juggernaut promotional vehicle that is Three Things with
Juggernaut,
JR.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, it could become that. I mean, that's, that was definitely pinging around in my brain. It's like, man, you should be able to get anybody that's playing in town or anywhere, and for them to plug it, because that's every podcast you ever hear, it's somebody plugging something.
Yeah, it's become the new late night talk show, right? That's the only reason
Exactly,
anybody ever
yeah.
goes on Carson or Leno or Letterman.
Oh yeah, because they're actually forced to. Their
Right.
movie studio or record company says, "Oh, by the way,
Yeah, there's a
we're going
promotional
on."
tour in your contract. You will be
Yes.
promoting this new movie, this new TV show, whatever it is.
Yeah. Have you ever heard Smartless?
Yes. Yeah, it's one of the number one podcasts, like interview.
I know. I had no. I was an early adopter of it,
Yeah.
and it. But that's it. That's nobody even is anywhere near it unless they got something to promote. It's like, because they're doing it for free, baby.
Although, how they celebrated their 100th episode. Did you hear the guest they had on?
I'm trying to remember.
He came on with nothing to promote. I mean, he's working on something, but it's not ready to be promoted yet.
Yeah, oh God, who was it? I remember hearing it because
Bradley
it was,
Cooper.
Right. Yeah, because I remember it because they made a big deal out of it that he didn't have anything to promote,
Right,
and that he couldn't say anything about the thing that he was working on because that would be just terrible, and probably lose a lot of money from the non-disclosure clauses.
Bradley Cooper's who would have pictured that he turned into the artiste that he has become, right? I mean, I just thought he was just
No shit.
a goofy movie actor, right? From like The Hangover. And then all of a sudden it turns out he's writing and directing and learning how to play guitar and sing. And
Right.
like, he played the Elephant Man on Broadway. Like he took it super seriously. Like he was a guest on Howard Stern as he was prepping for that role of Elephant Man on Broadway. And Howard Stern has always sort of had, a little fun. He makes fun of the voice of the Elephant Man, and he's always done that on his shows. He could not get Bradley Cooper to in any way, shape, or form make light of it at all, to have any fun with it. So, I mean, he's taking his art, his craft very seriously.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, and it's paying off too. I mean, geez. And that's the fun that what was on there. It was on there last week with Jack Black, and as hilarious and everything he's dead serious about the craft. the acting and the music. It's like, yeah, this is everything we do is tongue in cheek. It's all satire and everything, but we are dead serious about it. This is not a joke. And and that was that. I love that show because you get these weird, the juxtaposition of famous people who you kind of see, that famous side of them, but now they're with their peers and they're just, shitting around, and they've all worked together at some point, everybody, because those are three powerhouse dudes, and they give each other crap endlessly, and it's just hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, half the time they ignore whoever they have on the show so that they can give each other shit.
Yeah, that's especially, and the more famous the person is, really, like the more they'll just ignore them at times.
Yeah.
So, but I'm totally addicted to Hit Parade now.
Hit Parade. That's a podcast I haven't heard of yet.
Oh God, you ought to try it out. It's on Slate, and it's the guy that writes. He has a column. He sounds like the nerdiest dude that's ever sat behind a microphone. I mean, seriously, but oh my God, does his nerdiness pay off? Because he comes up with, Alex Cross is great, and he comes up with these tidbits, more social tidbits, but this guy gets data like nobody's business, and can just pull these things out. And I'm like, holy crap, I had no idea, and he's always basing it on the Billboard charts. That's his thing, is the Hit Parade is anything in the top 40 on Casey Kasem or now Ryan Seacrest.
So is he talking about like top 40 stuff from years ago? Is he focused on pop stuff? Like what is
he'll take something that's going on right now, and then in order to explain what's happening now, he goes back to when it first happened and the anomalies that brought us to here. Like the one I just listened to, it was called the AC/DC rule, and it's wherein they had their first really huge album, but it never charted because it was a rock album and no one knew who they were, but people kept buying it and they kept buying it, and right now it's like 17 million or 17 times platinum, but it never even charted. And the next album, which sold way fewer, charted at number 1, number 2, or number 1 on the album, simply because the people loved the first album so much.
Are the charts based on like radio plays and things like that?
It's based on, in the U.S., and he makes this distinction a lot. In the U.S., it's based on radio plays and retail sales. Now, the Hot 100 is based on retail sales of singles, which doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And then the album charts are based on album sales, which doesn't exist anymore. Well, actually still exists a little bit. So they've also brought in streaming and YouTube
plays, right? Yeah.
So, but also TikToks. It's the same, all the things. So, anything that, and it's, it's just with anything, it has to be a minimum of 30 seconds of the song for it to count. And that's why we're getting these, ridiculous chart hoppers now, because somebody takes it viral and it gets played literally 1 billion times because 500,000 people put it on their TikTok, and even if only 2 people look at that specific TikTok, that's another 1 million hits.
Yeah, it counts for something in the charts now.
Yes, it does, and that's fascinating, because especially when he goes through all the shifts, they've constantly tweaked their formula. Sometimes it seems purposefully to help a certain artist or something like that. Like a couple things really helped out the Beatles, but then it helped out Donna Summer, and that he wraps all these things together, and that's what makes it so interesting. And y'all definitely ought to check that out.
Speaking of TikTok, does ToBe Fare need a TikTok channel? And if so, what would we do with it?
I have begged Izzy to help us on that, and she has no interest whatsoever.
Because she doesn't want to try to make old people cool on TikTok, or because she doesn't have time?
that would mean she would have to put effort in, and she's just not really big on effort right now. Hence why she didn't make it to. Well, she didn't make it to record. She was coming. The whole idea was that she was going to sing with her sister and with Allison on the song, but she also has agoraphobia now, so she hasn't been out of the house in 2 months.
Gotcha. And how old is Izzy now?
She's 17.
And
she hasn't been out of the house since the last high school shooting.
The Uvalde?
The Uvalde, yeah, the elementary school shooting.
Now, had she returned to going to school in person before that?
Yes. Yeah. They were under strict COVID rules, and she goes to like a charter school.
Okay.
And so they have slightly looser regs as far as being there, because they do some of their people can't come because of health issues and stuff, because it's for kids with anxiety and other issues.
Yeah.
And so it's optional to come, but they encourage it, and they're very, it's got the open classroom and the happy room and ping pong tables and all that kind of stuff, where
open floor plan, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then but also a quiet room if you need to, because if you have social anxiety disorder, which 2 or 3 of them do, you get your own quiet room to just go and chill out, so that you can deal with the rest of the day, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. But being that they do everything, they always have something remote going, it's not a big deal for her to just camp out and do everything in house, which is, I think, part of the problematic. But at the same time, otherwise she just wasn't going to school. So
So, do you think she'll return into the classroom here in the fall when school gets back going again?
I hope so. Because she really needs that. I mean, I'm a firm believer in socialization.
It seems
at some point she's got to go out and into the world. So
yeah, it seems like it might be harder to get over your anxiety, or learn to live in the world with your anxiety if you don't go out in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's where the agoraphobia comes from. It's just like, if you remain sheltered and that gets fed into at some point, just space itself, you not getting outside of those walls, it becomes terrifying.
Yeah. Hey, we were talking about Smartless. Jason Bateman, one of the hosts, is on the show Ozark, and I can't remember how many texts you sent me. Seeing you seemed very excited for me to finally watch the final episodes of Ozark.
Oh God, I was so into that show, God. And the last half of the last season seemed like it took me forever to watch it, because I kept getting interrupted, and then I have to completely back it up, because you can't. If you bat an eyelash, you're going to miss something going on in the background that means something, very important in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of little Easter eggs in that show.
But the main thing was that just at the end with the little blonde hair girl, that was just so perfect.
Kind of heartbreaking to lose her.
It was, but on the flip side, it was absolutely perfect. I mean, that was the thing. A lot of people did not like that, the ending of that show, as they hate the ending of most shows. And that's the main reason, because we lost her. But holy crap, that was her character 100%.
There was nothing ever happy about that show. Like even when
there was not one person on it that you could actually like.
no, not one person. Although I don't know, maybe the teenage daughter.
I was going to say the son would be the closest, but he was a freak.
He was, yeah. He had his issues, and now he's a murderer. So that was
come from season 1. He popped that first guy.
Did he?
This one was straight up.
Yeah.
This was straight up ice blood, ice cold, stone cold killer.
Yeah, no, this was a conscious decision. I'm going to take this guy out. Yeah, not just. Yeah, nothing happy about that show, and
nope.
I don't know. It was one of those shows that for me, each season I was like, am I going to watch this again? It seems to it's trying, it's going too far with this whole thing, right?
Yeah, it really could have been about a season and a half.
It really could have. Yeah,
because it just kept going. It kept going down the wormhole further and further, and then it would come out again.
I mean,
and how many times in that last season did you go, "Oh, it's done"?
Right.
It's like, oh, it's done. It's either done really, everything ended awfully, or wow, after all that, a happy ending. What,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was not at all. It was like, wait a minute, it's not even all the way through the episode, let alone the season.
So speaking of, so there's, most, like you said, most shows don't have a wonderful final episode. Breaking Bad, I think, is an exception to that rule. It was pretty much the perfect last episode. Like, I can't find fault in it in any way. Are you watching Better Call Saul?
No, I didn't see Breaking Bad. So
you never watched Breaking Bad?
No, I've tried it a couple of times, but it's something that I need to, I don't know, be laid up for or something, because that's an Uber binge thing for me, because just to follow it, just to keep up with it and everything. So I really need to dedicate myself to it, and I can't really do that right now. Actually, I did dedicate myself to Stranger Things finally.
Oh, sweet. Where are you in Stranger Things?
Season 2.
Oh man.
Very first part of season 2. Yeah. So right after this podcast, we have a couple, because I'm watching this with Austin. So
I'm so jealous of I wish I was there to just watch it with you, to see you watch it for the first. It's so good.
Yeah,
I am completely caught up. Just finished season 4 a couple weeks ago, and man, I mean, it somehow gets better each season. It's crazy. It's crazy good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just and it's so, and it wraps up and it tells you, as opposed to Ozark, which would each episode would leave a lot of loose strings and loose wires. This one kind of wraps it up, fairly tell you stuff better. I think the execution, I think, is more straightforward, which it kind of has to be, being that it's a fantasy, horror, sci-fi period. Like it hits so many levels.
It does. Like, it's easy to think of it as a fun period 80s comedy sort of piece, which each season starts off with just a bunch of that. But then by the end of the season, we're not so worried about that, because we have things like Demogorgons to worry about. And it totally turns into a different show, and now it's an action adventure horror fantasy show, and which is typically not my cup of tea, but they rope you in so good that you actually care about stuff you don't normally care about, which is what happened for me.
And damn, the cast just keeps getting better and better, because they just introduced Sean Astin. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's like, how much better, because it's a show about the 80s. Number one, you got Winona Ryder, Matthew Modine. I mean, really, he is such a good evil dude. Just never put that on him,
evil in such a calm, likable sort of way, but there's this undercurrent of evil with him that you're gonna get to see more of him in season 4. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
Yeah, because he's the one that kind of just seeing him. It took me a minute to figure out, because I saw him on the credits, and I'm like going, oh, okay, so I'll be looking for Matthew Modine, and it's like, and I'm watching. It took like 2 scenes, but you go, oh crap, that's right, he's older now.
I think when I see Matthew Modine, I think of him from that bicycle movie, like where he was like
Breaking Away.
No, it was like American Cyclist or something like that. I forget the name.
American Flyer.
American Flyer, maybe.
I think
He was
for me, it's Full Metal Jacket. I mean,
well, there's that. Full Metal Jacket is pretty much the top for him.
Yeah, but then Vincent D'Onofrio stole that from him. So
right. Hey, so let's talk music a little bit. We haven't been rehearsing here much the last few weeks, months, and I think a lot of that is my fault because I'm so busy and I've been rehearsing for Kinky Boots every Sunday and all of that. But it's also Brian's fault because he goes incommunicado sometimes. And I know how bummed you get when we don't play music. Are you playing music yourself without us? Are you not playing music? What is music doing for you right now?
I have started booking some solo shows. I figure I need to embrace this because it was making me insanely depressed, and that and the recording, I'm trying to get stuff set so that I can actually give real good listens to the recordings and stuff, and that was frustrating me, and then not being able to play any. I was just gonna finally I was just like, no, I have to embrace this, and let's I'm just gonna do some stuff out here in Palmyra and things. And speaking of which, I might try to bum that fold up PA from you.
Oh yes, yeah, I can do that.
But just so that I can embrace it. Even told James, I said we're kind of on hiatus right now until JR's done with the acting for this round of acting, and I just need to compartmentalize it like that now and not get so stressed out. But it's still kind of I haven't even set up my stuff or anything from recording. It's all neatly packed in there, but we now have a pool table, so we cleaned off the pool table and actually have played a few games of pool, and that's been pretty nice.
Nice. So now band rehearsal can have some extracurricular activities while we're there.
That sure would be nice if it wasn't the thing where we rush in, rush through, and rush out.
Yeah,
but because we still need to watch that thing you do. Actually, I still think that's a critical watching.
So so Kinky Boots for me will be over in August. I've got a couple vacations planned right after that. But I don't see myself going out for another show in the fall. There's no shows happening that I just feel like I have to be a part of. So there's a show happening next year that I'm looking forward to auditioning for, but that will be like in spring of 2023. So
I heard that. That was on your podcast. I screamed a little bit but hey.
I want to play
truth in advertising.
Yeah. I want to play Audrey 2, the plant in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. I mean, that's the play, man. That's the one.
It's so good.
That wasn't Rick Moranis.
The movie was Rick Moranis. Yeah,
it was Rick Moranis. Okay, that's what
he played Seymour, the main protagonist, and Steve Martin played the dentist.
But I remember Steve Martin. I've seen the movie.
Yeah,
I think I've seen a community play of it too.
Kiki and I are heading up to New York next weekend to see 3 shows in one weekend, and then come right back. We're going to train up on Friday, going to watch a show Friday night, and then 2 shows Saturday, and then get the train back on Sunday.
Wow. What all are you seeing?
So the main reason we're going is because her absolute favorite Broadway star is a guy named Ramin Karimloo, who is he's got an incredible voice. He's a great actor. According to Kiki, he's beautiful. I get it. I can see that. You know, I would do him if I were gay. But he's fantastic. And I had seen that he was going to be in this show, Funny Girl, the show made famous by Barbra Streisand years ago, right? They're redoing it, and he plays the male lead. And
are they modernizing it, or is it a straight up?
No, they're pretty much keeping it as it was. They've made some subtle changes to adapt to the times, but I don't know exactly what they are. But for the most part, it's true to the original. And cool. So
there's a lot of rehashes going on right now on Broadway, and they were just talking about it on one of my other podcasts about a new reboot where some of the original cast is back playing the parents.
Kind of like West Side Story, the movie. One of the women that played I'm going to get it wrong. I forget which woman was in the original movie.
She played the main one. Not Rick. Shoot,
the Rick Moranis character. No,
the girl in the striped shirt.
Maria.
Maria. Yeah, that's it.
Maria.
Yeah, she played Maria. Now she's playing Maria's friend's mom.
That owns the business that they hang out in. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I used to follow all this stuff. I was a thespian for a long time. But
wait, you were a thespian? Did you act in shows and stuff like that?
Oh yeah,
really?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
Made it a semi-pro.
Tell me more.
Actually got paid to do it.
What? I got a $50 Sheets gas card when I was in Something Rotten from the Wayne. So technically, I got.
That's about
paid,
what I got.
So that makes me a professional.
I got cash because I also wrote the soundtrack for it.
Now,
so
was this in college? Was this after college? When was this?
This was right in that era. Yeah, it was. The semi-pro stuff was a outdoor historical theater. And so it was like the history of the Southwest Virginia stuff, and it was one of those things where each person plays like 3 characters, and I played like 3 or 4 characters, and did songs through the set changes and all that. So it was pretty cool. So I wrote about 5 songs for it, and played about 3 characters, and it was pretty cool. So it ran for about 2 months.
Wow. So there were songs in between the scenes, or were they musicals, or what?
No, it was like transition music.
Okay.
It's like you're setting up, you're like recapping the last one and setting up the next one, and then there was a couple that was just like dueling banjos, kind of. It's just like mood stuff. Yeah, that's where I first started writing music, was for theater. Back in my 8th grade class. Yeah, in 8th grade, I wrote music for readers theater, where they would literally, it was basically a read through, but it was rehearsed, no blocking or anything. You would take in 1-act play, and you'd have one person, per character, so that, because there's no costume changes or anything. So,
yeah.
And scene transitions or stuff were music. So I wrote soundtracks for those and played them live while the show was going on.
Man, I already knew that you were incredibly smart and talented in so many different ways. I think of you as a Renaissance man, and you've just added to that now. You've grown even more incredible in my mind.
Oh, jeez.
I consider myself honored to be part of your aura, to be able to play music with you. I mean, I do so many things, but I'm like not trained to do any of them. And I didn't do them when I was young at all. Like I was worthless as a teenager as far as, going out there and doing things. I mean, I did a little bit of performing. I was in one play in high school. I played football. But other than that, I was laying on a couch watching TV or working in a pizza joint. I did not.
See, we only had 3 channels back then, really only 2 where I grew up. So, I mean, TV just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, cable came out, went right at the wrong time for me. But yeah, I didn't use my formative years to form anything in the way of that. I got pretty lucky in getting the job I got because I've been able to make a pretty good career out of what I do. And it's just now, within these last 5-10 years, that I've been able to express myself with creativity and performance and all of that. And man, I so wish I had been doing this all my life.
Yeah, it was very rewarding. Really and truly, the main reason that I dropped out of theater was I ran into some bad experiences with going up to that next level, and the nasty competition. And I'm just not a big competitive person. And the competition, and I don't mind competition. If I do well, I do well. If I don't, if I do my best, I'm good. Not a big deal. But when people got nasty about it, it's like, I can't, I'm just doing my thing, dude. Don't hate me because I beat you for a freaking part. It's a part in a play, for God's sakes. Don't get off of it, man. And so at that point, I was just kind of like, well, nah. But I was big into it in high school. Yeah, I mean, we did, I don't know, 3 things I wrote. Wrote a play. Was that senior year? We wrote it wasn't a play. It was a Saturday Night Live.
A skit?
We did an entire Saturday Night Live.
Oh, got it.
From musical opening to close. I mean, and we ran it exactly the same way. And this was done in 1977. So Saturday Night Live, but I'd only been on for 2 years.
Yeah. Saturday Night Live was born the same year I was, just so you know.
Oh, yeah? Oh, cool.
1974.
Oh, no, you were a year old. It was 1975, November of 75.
Oh, does it start in 75?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me to remember back that far. Things are a little fuzzy for me.
A little fuzzy then, yeah.
Right. So I sort of got into this whole acting thing at the right time because I haven't experienced any of that like competition yet. Like the roles I've gone out for, there weren't many others going out for these roles.
Right. Yeah, that was
pandemic related stuff.
And I was naive, I had never really, it really wasn't a competitive thing where I was either. I was in a small town in Southwest Virginia, so there wasn't a whole lot of competition. And if there was competition for, people were pretty, they were pretty easygoing about it. I'll do this other part. I don't care, whatever. And but getting up at the, at a thing where a couple hundred people are auditioning for 8 parts, that's and it wasn't a musical where they can, oh well, everyone else, you're the chorus, you're going to do it too.
which by the way,
I'm sure that the community theaters around here would kill to have 100 people show up to audition for stuff, man.
Well, So the two shows I went out for, Christmas Story and Something Rotten, again, hardly anybody there, nobody really to compete with me for the roles that I was going for. I just auditioned for Misery, which is more of a straight play, not a musical, over at Shannon Arts, and I was pleasantly surprised to walk in, and there was probably 100 people there auditioning for 3 roles, 2 male roles and a female role. And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh crap! Like I actually got to really compete.
I gotta bring my game.
There's other people here that are probably better than me. And
they may have done this before.
Yeah, so I did get a call back for that, and then I misread the date and I missed it, and I just didn't get the role because I didn't show up to the callback.
I think that was rule number 1.
Show up.
Show up.
Yeah. There was confusion about the date, and I just misread an email, so it's my fault. I'm an idiot, but that would have been nice, like to get that role just because, just to know that I got the role, knowing that there was 20 or 30 other people going for the same role. And if I had gotten it, and if I hadn't gotten it, I would have been totally okay with that. Like I need to be turned down at some point to be like, to reset my ego a little bit. So.
Yeah. Cause I mean, every so often I've, it tinkered in, like, especially when I was living in Charlottesville, it's like, there were several things available, and I'm like, man, maybe I should try that. And then I would meet some of the people from it, and they would be, everybody would be really just awesome. And but every time they go, but look out for such and so. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing this. No.
So in my third production now with 2 different community theaters, I have not met anybody that I don't think is a nice, awesome person. Like,
no, that's awesome. That's the way it should be, especially with community theater, man. I mean, it's just like, there's any egos that come in there should be left at the door. I mean, it's totally. just like with music, man. It's like the egos, as long as the egos stay at the door, I don't care what they do outside of the venue. But once you cross into that venue, the egos they stay in the bus.
Yeah.
And as long as that happens, everything is cool.
Hey, let's talk about the new songs that we're working on. So we recorded 2 songs.
Can we do one quick edit? I kind of screwed up and I ran out of drink already. But it's just right next to me. It'll literally be like 2 seconds.
Yeah, go, man. Do I edit this part out, or do I keep talking to my audience while Gary's refreshing beverage?
A refreshing beverage has been summoned.
There we go. So, 2 new songs recorded, done. Are we going to have to go back and re-record anything or add anything to them, or did we capture everything we wanted to capture in that one day?
James has agreed to, at no charge to us, put it out with the missing parts that he neglected to put in the mixes so that I can do the edits, because all the synth stuff, if we don't edit it down, then the mix is going to be horrifying. So he's going to do that. We're going to listen to that.
So he sent us initial recordings, right? But were they missing your synth from your guitar? Like that wasn't in the recordings at all? Was that the
right?
issue?
It was not in it at all.
Was that just like a simple oversight?
Yeah, he just left it muted.
Yeah, okay.
He was rushing around and doing stuff, and he wanted to try to get that out before he left for his vacay, and it was just an oversight. But he was out, so he couldn't do it right then. And when I sent him the email, I said, I guess we'll just have to fix the synth in the mix, and because I was debating whether to go there and help mix it or just let him mix it or send it to Kevin Mack or whatever. I still don't have. I think I'm gonna reach out to Kevin Mack tomorrow and see what kind of timeline that would be and what kind of cost that would be for him to do the mix and master. But most likely it'll still be James.
Keep it all in house there, and
Yeah. James doesn't. He I think he would prefer to outsource it from, because every time we talk about it, he's like, "Well, I can do it, but I don't think that's his. I don't think that's his happy place." And so, which is cool. I mean, because I remember that Kevin Mack hated tracking. He hated tracking. And he would let us know. He would tell us, he would put us through hell during tracking. So he would like mixing and mastering. That's what, so each person has their own thing, and I know I would not like to be a tracking engineer. That's I mean, I got OCD, but I don't have that much OCD. That's a total OCD job. You have to keep up with 32 things going on at one time right now.
Live. Yeah. Cause these two songs were mostly recorded just live, most of the parts, right?
Yeah. The only overdubs we did, shoot, we didn't even have to fix Brian. Brian's stuff was kicking butt. Holy crap. I was like, that guy looked like Brian.
Right.
But man, he was playing, because, a lot of times he's not hunting for it. He's just kind of, playing, and just going. He goes out, but man, he was on it. And, he'd actually been working on, actual bass lines, which was really cool. And, but yeah, we didn't have to punch him. We didn't punch, I don't think we punched anything. We just did the vocals until my voice gave out. And then the girls, God, that's just beautiful. The stuff that they do.
The Farettes.
The Farettes are just fantastic. We need to bring them along every time.
So 2 songs, Transparent. Let's talk about that one first. Where did the idea for that song come up?
From Izzy. She, with all the stuff that we've done for, for the Black Lives Matter and the protests there, and for the other social justice and everything, she just straight up said, "Hey, you don't have anything for the LGBTQ community. Why not?" I'm like, "I don't know, sweetheart. I don't know." I said, "It just hasn't really rung a bell with me, but that put something in my heart that said, I need to do this. I need to do something for her." And so I started writing it, and I took it over and I let her read the lyrics. I said, "How does that sound?" And she was kind of embarrassed that I wrote this for her, but it's, then when I took her the mix, I took the edit mix. I said, "You can't really." No, actually, no, I didn't. I took the demo,
A recording we made at your house.
Yeah. No, I didn't take her the edit mix. I took her the demo, and I took it and the lyrics,
because you kind of wanted her approval before we proceeded with this, right? To see if it was
kind of sort of. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we were, that I was coming at it from the right direction. And because I wrote it kind of the same as I do the social justice songs. It's except I don't know if you've noticed, the last several songs that I've written have been kind of happy.
Yeah. Love Will Find a Way is very much not what we're used to with these dark, moody things that you typically write about.
Yeah, no, it's
almost like you are optimistic a little bit.
I'll get over it, man. Don't worry. It can only last for so long. I'll get over it.
Where has this newfound optimism of yours come from?
After listening to Small, you listen to it for a few times, and I go, I don't think I'd hire us to come and play any place because you're just going to make people depressed. You know, it's, even though amazingly enough, when the people that reviewed it and everything, and they, people are like, oh, I love this song or that song, and it's so uplifting, and I'm like, are you listening to the same song? Did you definitely haven't gone online and looked at the lyrics. You have not done that. It's like, he gives me hope, and I'm like, okay, good, thank you.
Maybe they're thinking about Libertad, where you're screaming about liberty at the end.
Actually, that's the most depressing one.
I know, right? So Transparent comes from Izzy, and very much openly addresses LGBTQ issues, right?
Correct. Yes. Well, just give them a chance. Just stop. Stop being a dickhead. Stop being dickheads. These are people. It doesn't matter. They're people, just like the other ones, just like the social justice ones. Hey, these are people. People are people. They need the same. It doesn't matter what their color or nationality or sexual orientation or none of that matters. As long as they're good people. The only thing that really pisses me off are these self-righteous bastards out there talking about this, that, and the other thing. And they think that they are the quote unquote good people, and they're the self-righteous bastards. So that's, I don't know that, hopefully we'll reach some people. I don't know. But
that would be cool. The chorus, the you be you be you be you part of that, it's such a simple phrase, right? But it for me, it sort of encapsulates a lot of how I feel about people that I've developed in the last 5 to 10 years. Where
since you've known me,
well, yeah, exactly. You're rubbing off on me, buddy. I think
it's the thespianism.
I think it's easier to be judgmental of people, and not even necessarily for major issues like gender identity and things like that, but just for people's opinions on stuff. And it was easy for me to think less of a person just because they thought a certain way, and it's definitely, it's this song is emblematic of how I have changed. Like, I don't really judge people that way anymore. The only people that might still be worth judging that way are the people, like you said, the self-righteous assholes who are actively against doing that themselves, right? Like who
Right.
are
Well, the biggest issue is that they're trying to push their beliefs down everyone else's throat, and it's like, I have, and I realized, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I used to be that guy who would go around and go, I disagree with you, but I will fight to the death to defend your ability to be disagreeable. I won't do that anymore. I won't. It's gotten to the point of, it's not a disagree. It's like we're on two different planes of thought.
Well, and it's not just
And
a different way of thinking or a disagreement anymore. It's so much more than that, because the way you feel is actually harming other people or taking away their rights and things like that. And that's when it becomes a problem. Those are the people that I can't just, okay, they feel differently than me, and I can now accept them and not judge them.
Yeah, now I know how to accept them. Now I know how to, I have to temper this or that, and that's fine. I don't have a problem tempering what I say or think or do around somebody. If they're a friend or an acquaintance or somebody I just met that I just know that has a different line of thought or a line of being, I got no problem, altering what I say or do, because I call kindness. That
Right.
is, that is respect. That, is just that it seems like there's a huge part of our populace now that has no respect for anything. They swear up and down that they do, but their actions betray that completely.
All right. So the other song was "Love Will Find a Way." Well, where does this song come from?
And that was well, I ripped off Depeche Mode #1, so we're going to get that out there right now. And that was the "Love Will Tear Us Apart" was there. So this is kind of an answer to Depeche Mode song from 1987 or whatever. Love that song, and I've always loved that song. But the melody is not the same, but to me, I've ripped off several other songs over my lifespan, and no one else could ever hear it but me. So I guess I'm doing it the right way. I don't know. But,
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, because one song I was like, the song that I did in 1982. I was like, man, this is I'm ripping off this Thompson Twins song. This is, it's a poppy little ditty, and about a girl on a cocaine binge, but it was a poppy little ditty nonetheless.
One of those happy songs you used to write. Yeah.
Well, there's little happy songs, but I was like, man, this is, the whole time I'm thinking Thompson Twins in my brain, and what comes out on record in 1986 was didn't sound Thompson Twinsy at all, and no one ever even made the connection. And even when I would tell them, they're like, "No, it doesn't." I'm like, "Okay," I'm like, "Okay, cool." But that, it was kind of an answer to that. That song literally changed the night before we recorded it. And that came from my other daughter. So it kind of, that change. Remember, I think I sent you all the lyrics for,
yes,
just to get your thoughts, your thoughts and prayers.
For the 19 more children we lost in Uvalde, right? That was the inspiration for that
19 more
change.
Yes, and because that event really affected my older daughter. She's got a 7-year-old in school, and on a weekly basis they do. Whereas when I grew up, we had duck and cover drills once a month in fear of nuclear holocaust. Like, that would really help us in that. Well, they have the same thing for school shooters, but this is an actual. These are actually happening. Most like. These are actually happening. Our whole thing was just, it was like something to get us to do, to remind us that, hey, even though we're not at war, we're at war. This new thing is literally survival. And she is in tears every day that he comes home, and she goes, "What'd you do today?" "Oh, today was live shooter drill." And it's like, this is not the way a kid is supposed to fucking grow up. This is not second grade stuff. They should be learning to cursive write, which they don't do anymore. Instead of cursive writing, now they're learning to shield themselves with their bulletproof backpacks. So I had to change that last verse to document that, and that made it almost where I couldn't finish the song. So, but you guys said you wanted to keep it, so hey,
dude, that the emotional turmoil in your voice at the end of that song is it's for real. And it comes through, and yeah, none of us wanted to lose that, so I think that's our motivation for keeping that in the song, which I'm excited for people to hear when it comes out.
Yeah, I think we're only about a month or so away. I put everything on slow track since it wasn't going to come out. I really wanted to get Transparent out for June for Pride Month, but that just wasn't going to happen. We just their scheduling just was not going to allow it. You know, if everything had fallen into place like a Lego set, it would have been, you know, a tough pull. But as usual, as in life, it does not fall into place like a Lego set. So I just stood back and I'm like, okay, we're gonna take a breather. We're gonna breathe and we're gonna look, you know, really look at it and see it. And I'll be honest, man. The first listen, I was ready to quit. I was like, no, this is not. I'm done, you know. And then I was like going, you know, Allison sounds really good. I wonder if she would sing for us, because I hated my voice. This is the first post broken vocal session, so it took me a minute to get used to not having glass shards coming out of the speakers.
Yeah, your voice has transformed multiple times since I've known you. You went from having that strong voice to having this sort of Tom Waits gravel in your voice. And then was it like at a gig we were playing somewhere, but like what happened? All of a sudden you've got these melodic high notes that you haven't had for years.
Oh no, that was at rehearsal when we were doing Creep over COVID. Remember we were trying to put Creep and the Door song
People
together?
Are Strange.
People Are Strange. We were trying to mash those up.
People are creeps.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, and I'm like, where'd that come from? And you're like, where'd that come from? And I'm like, I don't know. My voice is back.
So when you say you heard the recordings for the first time and didn't like them, that was a very different reaction to what I had when I heard the first recordings that James sent us after we were in the studio.
There's the same recording. It was just I was listening to it on my phone, and it was, you know, was not. That's why it took me so long. I had to get something. I had to get my reference system set back up so I could actually listen to what was going on. And after getting that done, I was like, that's all right.
No, these two songs are pretty great. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. And I loved the recording process this time. We didn't use a click track, which is the first time I've been in the studio where we didn't.
No, we used it on the first song, not the second. We opted to get rid of it. Or did we turn it off halfway through?
I think we turned it off and never turned it back on for either song.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. We definitely, at least one of these songs were.
I know we didn't use it for Love Will Find a Way, but I thought we used it for
Transparent.
For Transparent, yeah.
It felt very much like, as much fun as it is to play these songs at rehearsal, it felt very much like that as we were recording.
Mm-hmm. And I think with Transparent, I think he may have turned it off in the middle, because either that or we were playing it so absolutely perfect that we couldn't hear it anymore.
That's got to be it.
Which leads me back to, he probably turned it off. But speaking of which, yeah, I just watched the Wrecking Crew movie again, and that's eye-opening. It's really eye-opening how Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, you know, he got tired of his brothers not taking so long to get everything right in the studio that he hired the Wrecking Crew to be the Beach Boys in the studio. So then they had to go and learn what these absolute badass players played. instead of coming up with it themselves, they had to go and learn these incredible things that the Wrecking Crew was doing, so they could go play it on tour. Oh, that's almost meaner than making them.
Yeah, it's like if you brought in a pro drummer and then made me figure out how to do the stuff that guy's doing.
We wouldn't be the same, man. We have somebody, because somebody asked me why we were on hiatus. I said, well, JR's he's doing some acting now. And and so it's just better off if we don't try to counterbook, that and everything, because it's too complicated. And they're like, well, why don't you get another drummer? I'm like, number one, you don't know me very well if you would think I would do that. And number two, what you do on the drums are inherent to our sound. It cannot be Big or the band Big or ToBe Fare.
ToBe Fare.
Without your distinct drumming. I mean, that's a major part of the whole thing. Now we could switch Brian out tomorrow and it wouldn't make a big difference. That was kind of the thing with Modern Logic. We had 8 bass players over 10 years,
Wow.
only 2 drummers, but 8 bass players, and we swapped them out willy-nilly. I mean, we swapped them out without really losing any stride whatsoever. But when we changed drummers, we had to take a month off and rehearse 400 times a week, to make sure that was going to happen. But in this case, what you do, because of how you learned, what you do is totally unique. And I haven't really played with any other drummers since working with you, although I played with Scooter for a while. And I really like what he does, but it's so different. I mean, he's more police type drumming.
Right. Precision.
No, just light, just like he's more tinky, and which I like. That has a good place. He hits hard, but it's very, he plays a lot more. And his drums are tuned higher, and he has more syncopated stuff and more high, weird shit on the hi-hat and stuff like that. So,
jazzy.
Not necessarily, but no, because I can't play with jazzy. I can't play with jazz drummers. Jazz drummers drive me nuts. They completely drive me nuts. They're fantastic for what they do, but that's not what I do, and that's not. It doesn't work for me. So I need that big drum sound. And
what I lack in finesse, I'm trying to make up for in
in sheer volume,
power. Right. I'm like that with a lot of things. When I go skiing, right? Like, I don't have these beautiful carved curves going down the mountain. I just go straight down the mountain as fast as I can. I'm not a polished skier. I can just do it and have a lot of fun doing it. And if I tried to do it other ways, it would just not be as much fun.
Yeah, if I did that, there would just be this one big track of the snowball that I was leaving as I was rolling down the hill.
So, which of these 2 songs should become the next theme song of Three Things with JR? Because I've used one of our songs, a different song each season, right? Season 1 was Picture This. Season 2 was Brand New Day. Season 3 is People. So which one? I think Love Will Find a Way. Probably.
I think Love Will Find a Way is the one.
I think that feels right.
That's got more theme song in it. Although I've been tinkering around with just writing you a theme song.
I'm down. A Three Things with JR theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just music, or we got lyrics?
Just music.
You think? Yeah. Okay.
We might have a little shout out or something like that. We could do the 3, 2, 1 thing. Have a different little theme for each thing.
Yeah, we can use these little musical stings for when we go in and out of commercial breaks that are actually recorded to be that, right? They
although I tell you, man, when doing oh shoot, I can never remember on my own songs.
Later today.
Your favorite song? No.
Brand New Day.
Brand New Day. Yeah, Brand New Day. That works so perfectly for the Stings. The going in and out of the interview and in and out of the commercial break.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I mean, that was just like, wow. Because I was really impressed that you picked that out and did that, because it was, it just worked out perfectly.
Yeah, I think I liked that as the show's theme song better than I like what I'm doing with I'm actually using People to open the show.
And then you do Later Today in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little, to me, it's a little weird. I know no one else pays any attention to that stuff, but I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, wait a minute. So wouldn't it make sense to just use the same song?
There was just, I got in my brain something I wanted to do with Later Today, that part where you stop in the chorus, and then I wanted to stop to be the before the commercial break, and when you come back in after the commercial break.
Actually, coming back in after the commercial break should be the mayhem part.
Yeah.
That would be, or maybe at the very end. That would be, actually, that would probably be the best one of the old songs. Because of all the breaks, it almost has bits built right in.
Right.
But definitely at the end, having that build up and the chromatic mayhem going up and then da 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 da, goodbye.
See ya. We're out of here. Well, thank you for being available on such short notice to celebrate 100 episodes of the show with me.
This has been awesome, man. Because I was last week and I'm like, holy crap, what happened? Where's the 100? I was looking for the 100th, and I kept coming back to it. I'm like, damn it, my stupid, my stupid podcast thing's broken, and it's because every so often I'll miss one of the other podcasts I listen to, and I'm like. And I kept looking. I kept going back, and I went to the master list, and not there. And I'm like, okay, so he's just taking an extra week. That's okay. And then it was this morning, right? It said, hey, can we do that this evening?
I hit you up yesterday.
Yesterday,
yeah,
and so. As you can tell, my time and space continuum doesn't work too well.
So what we missed
it's Sunday, right?
It is Sunday, yes. So what we didn't hit an episode last week, but this week we're getting 3 episodes. That's how this is going to shake out. It's going to be episode 100.1, 100.2. You're going to be in episode 100.3. They're all dropping Tuesday this week. So you will have over 3 hours of 3 Things with JR to listen to in 3 separate installments. That's how we're celebrating episode number 100.
Dang, you go, girl.
Yeah. This all came together this weekend, came together quite nicely. All 3 of my lead singers.
I know, that's crazy. What was really hilarious was when we were all there at the Pale Blue Dot show, and it's like, we used to play in Pale Blue Dot fan club.
Yeah. Hey, I learned yesterday in talking to Tony, guess how many members there have been in Pale Blue Dot as of today?
As of today.
Yeah.
Because it could change.
Well, technically as of yesterday. It could be different today.
27.
Oh, not quite that many. 16 total members of Pale Blue Dot.
Damn.
And for anybody that's listening to this.
Did you remind him of how many members has been in ToBe Fare? We've had more names than members.
That's a good point. I love it. I hadn't thought of that. When I at the end of the Tony episode, I had recently uncovered a couple of recordings of Pale Blue Dot that I made in my living room at my old house where we first rehearsed, where Pale Blue Dot was born. And it was a recording that we had sent over to the studio so that Brian at Cat Room Studio knew what what the song was supposed to sound like, etc. And so I didn't tell Tony that I'm putting that song at the end of the show, an original demo recording of one of those Pale Blue Dot songs. So,
well, you live dangerously.
I hope he doesn't mind. I hope I don't get a call from Tony going, "Hey, what the hell?"
I'm not going to say anything about that. So
Yeah. So what I'm not going to put on the end of this show is the recordings that we got for these two most recent songs, because they're missing the synth. If they weren't missing the synth, I would maybe put one of them on the end of this show. But
yeah, well, they're totally unmixed. Too,
yeah,
so,
totally.
Yeah.
I would have explained that, but no, I don't want it out there until it's
but
until
yeah,
it's what we want.
without the synth and yeah, it was just that would be wrong.
Right.
It'd be wrong.
Yeah.
I would rather. I mean, yeah. Well, you've played several of our basement demo, basement practice tapes.
But mostly, I checked with you guys first. Most of the time.
Well, I know. Yeah, that's why it worries me about you doing that for Tony.
I'm probably.
We would like to play with them sometime.
I'm probably going to text him tonight or tomorrow just to make sure he knows.
Just cause. I mean, it's just the good thing to do, especially since this is going out to your thousands of listeners.
Yes, that's right. My thousands, my throngs of fans.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you never can tell, man. They might pick us up. They might, pick us up at Smartless.
I doubt it.
I was just trying to, do the comeback. Just to wrap it right around.
Yeah, just to bring it full circle all the way back to Smartless. Well, dude, thank you once again for doing this. I hope we get to play music together
I love
soon.
Listening to myself, so.
Well, there you go. You have to listen to Bobby and Tony first if you want to listen to everything in order.
Well, I am.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. You're one of the.
And I'll give you I'll send notes. Don't worry.
Please do. You're one of the faithful listeners. You've been a listener since the beginning, and I don't think you've missed an episode. And I love it when you give me notes, because it usually makes my podcast sound better.
That's what I do, man. I mean, and I've stopped listening to podcasts because of crappy sound. So, I mean, as someone who listens to podcasts as much as 8 hours a day, sonic quality is very important. So all of you out there that are looking to do a podcast, sonic quality is important. Recording it on your iPhone doesn't cut it if you want me to listen to it, except the fact that I'm on my iPhone right now. So hopefully this sounds pretty good. And
we're going to throw some compression on you, and we're going to, you're going to be fine.
Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm in the cavernous second music room that I have. So
right. Hey, are you going to come see Kinky Boots?
It's probably because you're running it for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, 2 weekends in the middle of August. So it's about a month from now. We'll be right in the middle of Kinky Boots.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to do that. Yeah, the last one was just too much going on for me. I really enjoyed you in the Christmas Story. That was brought a tear to my heart. Tear to my eyes at the end, man. You killed it, absolutely killed it. And Kinky Boots does, being that Cyndi Lauper was on the team that wrote it and everything, that also gives me a little more, because it's not your traditional musical. So
no,
that's what I like. I've actually done a couple of musicals myself, so and that wasn't by design, but it did them nonetheless. Well, I like musicals like the Blues Brothers, where it's a musical, but you really don't notice.
Some are just plays with songs.
Right, yeah, exactly. I've done a lot of those.
That's a line I got to sing in Something Rotten, the show you missed, where I sang about musicals, and some are just plays with songs.
Oh, I didn't miss it. I watched that whole the whole video that you sent.
The bootleg copy of video that we're not allowed to take at the theater.
That you sent to me personally.
It's not a public video on YouTube. Don't ask me for it. I'm not going to send it to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
because I burned it right after that.
Good call. Good call.
It was on, it was a hard copy on VHS, which most of the kids out there. Actually, no, I think it was on Betamax, wasn't it? I think it was
Betamax. Yeah, you
I think
good
it was
luck.
a
Good
Betamax,
luck
hard
playing
copy
that,
Betamax.
everybody.
We degaused it immediately.
Big old magnet.
Viewing. And
hey, I would suggest, and this is very serious, bring Izzy if you can get her to leave the house. Right, bring Izzy to this show because it's very much LGBTQ. It addresses a lot of issues with acceptance of people, and my character in specifically is, starts off the show very closed-minded, and finishes the show maybe with an epiphany. So, and there's
oh, that would be cool.
There's a lot. I mean,
but I will warn you now. She wouldn't go shopping with me. We were going shopping for her, and she wouldn't go.
Maybe the desire to see LGBTQ issues. Well, no, LGBTQ issues dealt with in such a way, right? So openly, so very much, overtly in this show. Maybe that will be more important than her fear of going outside.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Work on it, man.
I'll work on it.
I will give you and her free tickets. So I mean, not that money was any part of the the roadblock for her going, but seriously, let her know that I think she would love this show.
Awesome. Cool. I will do.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you again to play music sometime soon. Thank you for being on my show.
Hey, it's my pleasure, dude. Can't wait to hear it.
All right, man. Check you later.
Rock on.
See you, dude.
Bye.
Bye. So that's it. Episode 100. Broken out into 3 parts. You made it. You're at the end. Thank you for being with me, for listening to this show, for being a fan of 3 Things with JR. Like I said earlier, please tell your friends about the show. I think it's a pretty fun hang, and get them to check it out. Have them subscribe, like it, follow it, write comments, rate the show, wherever you can do that. We ended the last 2 episodes with a song, right? We ended up with Bobby Sims and I playing "Wicked Twisted Road" in his room at his house, and Tony playing. That's a Pale Blue Dot demo recording of Star Counter before it was ever recorded, with me on the drums. It's one of the only recordings of that song, of any Pale Blue Dot song, with me on it as the drummer. And today, we don't have a current Gary Hawthorne song to play, but not too long ago, Gary gave me a copy of an old album, a Modern Logic album called Tomorrow's Sun. It came out in 1986. And what you're hearing now is one of the songs from that album. It's a song that we've covered in the band Big, or ToBe Fare. It's called Traces. It's on our album Small. If you want to check out what this song sounds like today. But here's what it sounded like in 1986 by Modern Logic. This is Traces.
Thought I saw you all alone in a crowded room. Vanished quickly from my sight, left traces of perfume. All of those where you were, catch you waiting there. All of those to what I want, if that is what you dare. want to, I'll break it with my hand.